All right, so today's like March 9th, 2015. My name's Tim Casey. That would be timothyo.casey@gmail.com in case anybody wanted to email me and talk about some of the things I talk about, kind of privately. So today I wanted to talk about the build-up towards suicide and my suicide attempt that I made back in 2000. And what happened, my drinking once again had gotten really out of control. Had a 3-year-old son and a toddling daughter at home, and I had been on a string of what we like to call in the fire service confirmed kills. I think I'd had more than 10 patients and maybe 12 in a row that had been cardiac or other events, and I didn't resuscitate them. We didn't resuscitate them as a crew, as a paramedic, and they died. And I don't know if other medics and firefighters have suffered this kind of thing, but every now and then you get on a bad run. And this is a bad run. I was, as we say euphemistically, I was killing everybody that I was treating. And we laugh about it, we joke about it, and then that relieves some of the stress. But in truth, it was wearing on me. It's like, it's like, God, we watch so many people die firsthand anyways, and then it's like not to get, a save, this one save in the course of a month or two where you really actually save somebody and they just die and die and die on you, and your crew rags and rags and rags on you, it can build up. So I was already depressed, my alcohol was raging, and I started finding myself, when we went on suicide calls, observing the different methods people use to commit suicide. So I was doing research essentially because first off, I saw the aftermath of the suicide, the family members that found them. I had parents discover children, a 15-year-old hung herself in the garage and mom and dad got home, and when they opened the garage door, the first thing they saw was her hanging there, and I saw the aftermath on those parents, or wives, or husbands, or business associates, whatever, finding these people dead. And so I would consider how they've done it. Now, guns are really messy, although I'm a gun owner. I didn't really consider gun as a real viable method, even though that's what men use most chronically and most successfully are guns. Men attempt suicide less often than women, but God bless us, we are more successful. When we attempt suicide, we succeed at suicide, especially with guns. But guns make a terrible mess, and it's a mess, especially indoors. It's a terrible mess. I remember one guy in particular killed himself with a .44 on his 44th birthday at 4:40 in the afternoon by shooting himself in the head. And apparently his father had done the exact same thing at 44. And we walked into his bedroom and he was laying backwards on the bed, and he looked pretty intact until you looked up at the ceiling, and up at the ceiling is where the byproduct of the round had gone, and had one of those dish ceiling lights, and a lot of the gray matter and stuff had collected inside of that light fixture. Anyway, it was really gruesome, and somebody had to clean that up. If you shut yourself outside, was a lot better scenario. It would clean up a lot easier. I looked at hanging, and I thought, no way I could do hanging unless, like, if you did hang yourself, at least do it like in a garage over a concrete floor. It was easier to clean up. And I'm serious, as macabre and as horrible as this sounds, these were really thoughts and things that I was doing. I mean, if you're doing stuff like this, you're not in good shape. Normal people don't research suicide on the spot. They might read about it, they might look at it online, but we get to see it firsthand and then see the ramifications of it. So hanging, I could see hanging that, but I didn't, you know, if you don't hang yourself from a great enough distance, you just strangle yourself. And so I didn't think I wanted to do that. I was too chicken to do that. I considered drug overdoses, and those were pretty clean deaths. You know, there was, you know, a lot of emesis and vomiting, and it wasn't terribly clean from that perspective, but it was a lot neater than a gun. So I considered that, but at the same time, I didn't have any prescription meds that I could take that would kill me. So then I would have had to find meds, and you know, that wouldn't have been so good, and you know, that would have got me in trouble. And so I came down to the notion that carbon monoxide, that get in your car and gas yourself in the garage, detached garage, because I didn't want to do it if the garage had been attached to the house where I would gas the whole family. I don't want to do that. Fortunately, in the suicide scenario, I had a detached garage, so I could go out to the garage, which I did, with a raging blood alcohol. I was really seriously drunk, and went out and took some, I think I took some beers with me, and went out, got in the truck in the garage, started it up, put some sad songs on the car stereo, and then proceeded to pass out. And so, had I not been discovered and the garage had been opened and you know, exhausted the fumes, I was successful at that point. I had successfully committed suicide, other than I was discovered, and that process was interrupted. Thankfully so. You know, I'm not suicidal now. And if you are, my God, please email me, get a hold of somebody that you can talk to. Our culture is so corrupted inside of the fire department and in the EMS world. We are, you know, this American iconic heroic person that goes and we save other people and we do all these great deeds, and if we admit a weakness ourselves, then we become suspect, and then we're weak, and then people don't want to work with us, and they're going to talk about us behind our back. So committing suicide's a lot easier. Quite frankly, it's easier to commit suicide. I don't buy into the notion that suicide is so selfish. When I was in that moment, I wasn't being selfish. I wasn't trying necessarily to free myself from pain. I was trying to just relieve everybody around me. My wife at the time, my children, my family, coworkers, friends, everybody that saw me struggling and suffering and going through the things that I was going through, even though I internalized most of it, it was obvious that I wasn't having fun. And so the best thing for me to do was to pull myself out of that scenario, to pull myself out of that environment. And then other people, yeah, they'd have to contend with my death, but ultimately it would be better because I wasn't going to be around to cause trouble for them anymore. So is it selfish? My opinion, not. Other people's opinions are their opinions. My point is, if you are drinking too much or you're overusing your pain meds and suicide's on your mind and you are depressed and anxious at work, talk to somebody else. You know, you don't even have to talk to somebody in the station. You know, a lot of companies and departments now have they have their internal, you know, I mean, we get critical incident stress debriefings after a big event, but you know, we have peer groups a lot of the time now that we can talk to. Anyways, get some help and go for that. Once again, my email is timothyO.casey@gmail.com. So if you want to email me and just ask me questions or just tell me your story or anything that you need or want to do, I'm here. I don't rat people out. I don't talk to anybody else about the emails that I receive, and I just email back and forth just between the people that are struggling and trust me. So you can trust me too. Anyways, go ahead and email me, and I'll keep doing videos about this. So thanks. Oh, and I designed a kind of a weird logo. I'm going to add that to this video, and so you can tell me what you think of my logo as well. So anyways, be well, brothers and sisters, and take care of yourselves. Thank you.